Hebrews chapter 4. Therefore, since the remedy is still available, and the promise of complete healing and perfect rest still stands, let us be careful that none of us be found to have rejected it. For we also have had the good news of God's healing truth presented to us, just as they did. But the message of truth had no value to them, because they did not believe it, nor did they trust the one who gave it. But we, who have trusted God on the basis of the truth Christ provided, experience healing and enter that rest, and our minds are at peace. As God has said, so I granted them their persistent choice and said, since they refuse the truth, the remedy I freely offer, they will never be able to enter my rest and get well. It was not because God's perfect rest was not available, for it had been ready since his work of creation was complete. As the scriptures say elsewhere regarding the seventh day, and on the seventh day God rested his case. He had finished all his work of providing the evidence needed to refute the lies of Satan. And yet in another passage he says, if they refuse the truth, if they reject the evidence I have provided, their minds will never find rest, and they will not get well. The opportunity to find God's healing and rest still remains, even though those who formerly had the good news of God's healing truth presented to them did not get well or find rest because they refused to believe the truth and trust God. Therefore God again and again presents his healing remedy, and he set a certain day which he called Today, when much later he spoke through David in the same scripture as before. Today, if you hear his voice offering healing and restoration, do not reject the true remedy and darken your minds. For if Joshua had already given them healing of character and rest for their minds, God would not have spoken later about another day of rest still to come. There remains then a Sabbath rest, a rest in the evidence and truth of the character of God, which heals and transforms the people of God. For anyone who rests in the achievements of Christ rests from working to save themselves, just as God rested from his work. Let us therefore make every effort to rest in the truth about God as revealed by Christ, so that no one will fall by following the example of distrust and refusal to accept the truth. For the Word of God is the living and active revelation of the truth about God, his methods and principles, and the real basis of life in the universe. It is sharper than any two-edged sword. It penetrates the deepest recesses of the mind and separates thoughts and feelings, habits and motives. It also diagnoses the true intentions, attitudes, and principles of the heart. Nothing in all creation is hidden from God's sight, as he knows the true condition of our minds. Everything is open and clearly seen by him who will one day examine and accurately diagnose us all. Therefore, since we have a great high priest, a great physician, who has gone through the heavens, Jesus, the Son of God, let us hold confidently to the truth about God and his plan to heal and restore us. For we do not have a heavenly physician, a great high priest, who is unable to appreciate our weakness, suffering, and struggles, but we have one who, in his humanity, was tempted in every way, exactly as we are, yet without sin, without ever giving in to selfish temptations. Therefore let us approach the throne of God's grace without fear, but confidently, realizing that he longs to dispense all the resources of heaven to heal us, so that we may receive mercy, grace, and every benefit to give us victory in our time of need.